Yesterday we were talking about pericardial effusion. What is pericardial effusion? Just a brief rundown of what is pericardial effusion.
Fluid buildup in pericardial space.
My earphones are not connected. Just hold on a minute. I'm hearing the voice outside. Hold on 1 minute. No, I'm not hearing it outside. Yeah, you were saying pericardial effusion?
Accumulation of excessive fluid in pericardial space.
Right. Still coming outside for some reason. I'm not able to understand. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. Already. I don't know. I'm getting your voice outside. My thing is carrying laptop. Anyway, so pericardial effusion. You were saying that collection of the pericardial cavity. Okay. So, what kind of fluid is getting accumulated, and why is it dangerous? What level of fluid is dangerous?
Thousand.
I asked, how is pericardial effusion dangerous? What level of fluid accumulation is dangerous? How much amount of fluid is safe for your heart? And what happens in pericardial effusion? How much fluid is getting accumulated, and why is it dangerous? कल ही pericardial effusion के बारे में पढ़े थे ना? What is dangerous?
1000 ml, sir.
1000 ml. Okay. 1000 ml is dangerous, or 1000 ml can be accommodated by your heart?
Dangerous, sir.
No, sir, it can accommodate.
Yesterday, what I told you is your pericardial cavity normally has 30 to 50 ml of fluid. Okay. It has the capacity to house 1000. While functioning normally, it can accommodate up to 1000 ml of fluid while functioning normally, in the condition that this increase in fluid is happening gradually. Okay. Agar, the increase in fluid in the pericardial space is happening slowly, gradually, up to 1000 ml, your heart will be functioning properly. No problem in the function altogether. This thing, systolic and diastolic functions will be normal. But if there is a sudden increase of up to even 250 ml, that is when you will have serious problems. Okay. Even though the capacity is much more higher, timeline will make a difference. यहाँ पर अगर एकदम से 250 ml बढ़ गया, let's suppose the sudden edematous condition after whatever the reason is, because of certain reason, let us suppose 250 ml of fluid suddenly gets accumulated in your pericardial fluid, your heart will not be able to accommodate that. Your heart will not be able to adapt to that amount of fluid in the pericardial space, and that is when you'll start having problems. Okay, 1000 ml is not dangerous. Depends on how long it is taking for it to get accumulated. All right, even 250 ml can be dangerous if it is occurring very quickly. Okay, so what are the types of effusions?
Serous pericardium.
Serous effusion.
Serous sinus, yeah. Every captain.
Pilus effusion.
Cholesterol.
High effusion.
Cholesterol, serous, pilus, and the another one.
Serous sinus. Yes. Serous sinus.
Serous sanguinus.
Serous sinus, sir.
Serous sanguinus. ठीक है. sanguineous, NEOUS भी लिखते हैं, NOUS भी लिखते हैं, कैसा भी. Now in some textbooks you'll find it as NEOUS. In some textbooks you'll find it as NEOUS. Sanguine essentially refers to anything that deals with blood. That is why serosanguinous means serum and blood together. Okay. तो काइनेस effusion में क्या रहा था? What do you find in काइनेस effusion?
Sir, milky like fluid.
Generally, why does it occur? Okay, what are milky fluids inside your body? Think, which will be present in your circulation, near your circulation. Okay, other than blood, what flows in your body? Something circulates all around your body other than blood. There will be vessels of that particular
Yes.
legs. Exactly. So
Lymph.
lymphatic fluid.
Lymphatic.
Lymph obstruction हुआ तो you'll start seeing this kind of fluid being accumulated in your pericardial space. Okay. चलो pericardial fluid का ठीक है. Pericardial effusion का ठीक है. What about RSD? What is RSD?
Rheumatic heart disease.
क्या होता है?
Layers of the heart affects.
Okay, layers of hearts are getting affected. How are they getting affected? What is the cause that is happening in it?
Sir, rheumatic fever होने से
Okay, you are going on correct line. Rheumatic fever होता.
कैसे rheumatic?
अच्छा, what is the causative agent commonly in rheumatic heart disease? Excuse me. What is the causative agent in most of the cases of rheumatic heart disease?
Streptococci.
Streptococci. Okay. Why is it occurring from strep? I told you one specific condition, how it will occur from strep.
Scar.
Acha, if you are not treating strep infections properly and they are able to migrate all the way up to the walls of your heart, valves of your heart, that is when you will start seeing the symptoms of rheumatic heart disease. It will start proliferating there, वहाँ पर colonies बनने लगते and वहाँ से आपको गड़बड़ शुरू होती. Okay. What are the causative agents of rheumatic heart disease other than streptococci or
Beta
underlying
hemolytic.
agents? Beta hemolytic streptococci is one like proper causative agent. Other than that, what are the factors that will influence?
Socio-economical factor.
मतलब socio-economic effect मतलब who are getting
Poor
affected?
nutrition. Poor nutrition.
Poverty.
Lot of
Poverty.
population.
All right. And other than that, in which region is this
Hygiene.
common? Hygiene, yes. Which regions are these common?
River side.
Tropical and subtropical areas, especially in cold and climate areas, right? Near rivers and waterways. What are the pathological changes that will occur in this? What will you see in at the level of your heart? The changes that are occurring at the level of your heart.
Lesions. Sir, we can see lesions, damage.
What type of lesions?
Valvular lesions.
They have some special names, no? You'll see areas of fibrinoid necrosis in the myocardium. Those areas are called something, or those bodies are called something.
Asco body.
Astronaut bodies are areas in your myocardium which have undergone necrosis, fibrinoid necrosis, and mostly they will be surrounded by lymphocytes, macrophages, plasma cells. Later on, it will be replaced by scar tissue. Okay. Other than that, what would you see?
So one side.
One side was
Sometimes heart failure.
Left atrium.
told you something about verrucae. What are verrucae? Okay, what are vegetations? I told you yesterday there will be beady vegetations, bead-like vegetations present in the valves, causing valvulitis. Okay, and that will look like those beady vegetations will look like verrucae. What are these vegetations? Okay, पढ़ने की जरूरत है, pathological changes. Read, I'll ask you tomorrow. Okay, so today we'll start off with infective endocarditis. Now, as the name suggests, there is inflammation of your endocardium, or it is of microbial origin. Specifically, what happens is infective endocarditis is a very serious infection of your valves, valvular and mural endocardium there. वहाँ पर it is caused by sometimes see the bacteria. It can also be caused by generally it is not caused by tubercular bacteria. जो tuberculosis का bacteria आ रहा था वो bacilli नहीं करता. And non-bacterial microorganisms generally will not cause endocarditis. The most common bacteria will be staph. Okay, staph or staph. Mostly staph, sometimes staph. Okay, this is again coming from there will be two different types of endocarditis. Now, obviously, there is infection, and that infection is reaching a endocardium and causing problems. So, वहाँ पर inflammation create कर रहा था. Hence, the term endocarditis. And obviously, once it is reaching heart, it is making vegetations. It is latching onto certain valves, and it is starting to grow. And जहाँ पर भी grow होता, it will make vegetations. अब infective endocarditis will be of two types. You have acute infective endocarditis, just setting it as IE, and there is subacute infective endocarditis. Now, acute जो है is mainly caused by highly virulent organisms, specifically Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, these will cause much more aggressive damage. Acute endocarditis जो होता ना, यहाँ पर damage to the endocardium generally occurs in a previously normal heart, meaning there is a healthy person who is getting infected by this Staphylococcus aureus, and that is starting to cause it is starting to wreak havoc inside the person's heart. Eventually, what will happen is within a matter of 2 to 6 weeks, if infective endocarditis or acute endocarditis is not controlled, within 2 to 6 weeks, the patient will die. Okay, it can be fatal in 2 to 6 weeks if not given proper therapy. So, much more aggressive kind of disease. Subacute endocarditis is caused by less virulent bacteria. Okay. So, have you heard of the term commensals? You know what a commensal is? Ever heard of the term commensal? आप लोग लास्ट ईयर माइक्रोबायोलॉजी पढ़े थे ना? What is a commensal? So पहले भी I think when I was explaining something about GIT adverse effects, I told you what a commensal is.
तो पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप में रहता था.
क्या रहते वो? What are commensals?
Bacteria.
Okay, they are bacteria, and you are telling they'll be in group. Where will they be present? Where do you find commensals?
Mouth.
Okay, mouth is one location, and what is the microflora and microfauna of your body? Intestines. Intestines में रहते ना, helping in digestion and absorption of food. Without microflora, you will not be able to digest and absorb food properly. At least digest food properly. तो यहाँ पर जो subacute endocarditis है, this will mainly occur from commensals. Now, commensals as such will not be problematic. They are simply chilling around in your mouth, and they'll just live normally without causing you any harm. They will take a little bit of glucose from your body, very minute amount. You won't even notice, and they will survive. Okay, they will not provide you as such any benefit, but they will not harm you either. अब subacute infective endocarditis में क्या हो रहा? These less virulent bacteria, which are these are present in now they are present in everyone, but specifically in people who have a underlying heart condition. Let us suppose there is a person who has an underlying heart condition like hypertension है, CAD है, atherosclerosis है, कुछ भी है. उनके अंदर what is happening is these commensals are somehow reaching the systemic circulation. And by chance, what happens is their immune system also is not working properly. Let us suppose. Because there are several factors that will play a concurrent role. But what is happening is एक तो उनका वो person जो भी है उनका immune system अच्छा काम नहीं कर रहा. Second, they have an underlying cardiac condition, and that is when commensals are entering their systemic circulation. Now, and the way they enter is also pretty unique. So let us suppose one day, I'm sure all of you brush your teeth twice a day or at least once a day. You know what is a brush. And let's suppose one day you decide आज सब पूरे bacteria को मारना ही है बोल के you passionately brush your teeth, like really passionately brush your teeth, just shy of removing your teeth altogether. And आप उतना aggressively brush कर रहे हो, you obviously bruise your gums. Okay. And in normal people that is fine. थोड़ा bruising होता है, it will immediately heal within 1 day or 2 days. Now in certain individuals, what will happen is these commensals, because of the injury on the gums, what will happen is these commensals have the route to enter systemic circulation. Now normally these commensals should not be able to enter your blood, and even if they are entering, your macrophages should be able to kill them very easily. Generally trigger nahi hota reaction because commensals are like your body's own friends. Macrophages generally will not create a lot of problem to them, but even if they are coming in a healthy individual, macrophages will kill them off. In certain conditions, what will happen is those commensals are entering the systemic circulation and reaching all the way up to the heart, and there they are causing endocarditis. Okay, and this heart, mind you, is already having some problem or the other. That is subacute endocarditis. All right, this will take a more longer period of time. This is not as aggressive. जो है patient condition will gradually start deteriorating over a period of 6 weeks to sometimes a few months. Sometimes it might even take years altogether for subacute infective endocarditis to occur properly. Okay, so those are the two main types of endocarditis. Now, if we talk about causative agents, so there are two main etiological agents. Suppose one is infective agents. Okay. Infective agents में आते हैं, see 90% of the cases infective agent है staphylococcus, streptococci, staphylococcus, strep and staph. ये दोनों बहुत कम है. ठीक है, common staph and staph infection, उसकी वजह से endocarditis हो रहा. That is in most of the cases. In certain cases, you can have virulent stains of Staph aureus, or you can have virulent stains of pneumococci, gonococci, beta streptococci, enterococci, ये भी cause कर सकते हैं. Subacute infective endocarditis में the common causative agent is strep viridans. Strep viridans is normally present inside your mouth as commensal. It will not create any problems. But in the scenario where the patient is already having some underlying cardiac problem and their immune system is not working properly, that is where this has a capability of creating havoc. Okay. So infective causes में ये है. Even though strep viridans has very low virulence, yeah, as such it will not cause any problems altogether. But in special conditions, that is when it can cause subacute type of endocarditis. Then these are the infective agents. Then there is another etiological factor which is predisposing factors. There are certain factors that will make the patient more susceptible to development of development of infective endocarditis. First, there are three conditions. First condition will be let's suppose conditions leading to bacteremia, septicemia. If there is a condition that is leading to bacteremia or septicemia or pyemia, ठीक है, कोई और infection है, bacterial infection है, and that bacterial infection is gaining entrance to the bloodstream. Generally, it occurs from the periodontal route. Few if it is acute, it is coming from periodontal route, meaning it is occurring from your mouth and gums specifically, and वहाँ से it is entering systemic circulation. Finally, it is reaching, your heart. So aggressive brushing, vigorous brushing of teeth, tooth extraction, infection of GIT, gastrointestinal tract, and gastrourinary tract as well sometimes. Especially gastrourinary tract infection कब होता वालों? If improper catheterization is done, or if you're not removing catheters internally. Normally you're supposed to remove catheters every 2 to 3 days. It's generally 2 days, not more than that. Rather than, again, depending on the patient's condition also, you have to change. But on an average, 2 to 3 days is the norm. Patient to patient भी थोड़ा change होता है, depending on their condition. Cytoscopy कर रहे हैं या obstetric procedures कर रहे हैं, including normal delivery or abortions. If there is any biliary tract infections, or if there is bowel surgery, या फिर skin infections हो रहे patient को, boils हो रहे, abscesses हो रहे, bacterial pneumonia है, ये पूरे causes जो है, they can lead to bacteremia or they can lead to septicemia or pyemia. Meaning from any of these causes, these are predisposing factors. इसका मतलब ये है, if the patient is undergoing normal delivery, or they are undergoing catheterization, or they are undergoing some tooth extraction procedure, all of these will make the patient more susceptible to, to endocarditis. तो इसकी वजह से बैक्टीरिया हो सकता है, बैक्टीरिया की वजह से एंडोकार्डिटिस हो सकता है, वो एक प्रीडिस्पोजिंग फैक्टर है. समझ में आया? See, what I told is, पक्का समझ में आया पूरा?
No, sir.
नहीं समझ में आया. Okay. So, अच्छा, let me put it this way. All right. Let us suppose there is a person who is, there are two people. Okay. One person is properly hydrated. Okay. And the other person is slightly dehydrated. Okay. Let us suppose there are two people. One is hydrated properly, the other is slightly dehydrated. And you ask both of them to go in the hot sun and do some job and come back. Okay. Let us suppose they have to go out for whatever their personal work is, and they are going out at the same time, going to the same locations, and they are coming back within, well, like, suppose 2-3 hours while being at peak summer. Okay. Let's suppose at around 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, they are roaming around and coming back home. Now, which person will be more susceptible to get a sunstroke? Out of these two people, एक hydrated है, एक slightly dehydrated है. ये दोनों को मैं धूप में भेज रहा हूँ, ठीक है, full धूप है, कड़ाके की. Let's suppose 45-50 degrees temperature है बाहर. At around 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I'm sending them out to do some specific job. And once they come back at 3, which person will be more susceptible to developing, heat stroke, or just their health going deteriorated?
Hydrated one.
The slightly dehydrated one. Correct. तो यहाँ पर being slightly dehydrated is a predisposing factor. अगर उन्होंने dehydrated नहीं होते, तो they would not have run the risk of, developing a sunstroke. The same way, और एक और example बोलते, if you are obese, or let's suppose you live a very inactive lifestyle, then there is a higher chance. These are predisposing factors for a person to develop diabetes or hypertension. Okay? Especially being very inactive. So those predisposing factors are factors that will influence in development of those disease. अगर वो factors है, तो वो particular disease ज़्यादा जल्दी develop होती है वो patient में. यहाँ पर infective endocarditis में, if there is a patient who is undergoing a periodontal infection, who is having a periodontal infection, या फिर they are getting their tooth extracted, या फिर they are undergoing a normal delivery, ये पूरे कोई और procedure है. These are not related to infective endocarditis, but these will act as predisposing factors. These will put the patient at risk of developing subacute or acute infective endocarditis. अभी समझ में आया? Any of these factors can lead to bacteremia, and bacteremia can lead to, endocarditis, infective endocarditis. अगर let's suppose bowel surgery है या biliary tract infection है, genitourinary tract infection है, यहाँ से या normal delivery है, यहाँ से bacteria can easily enter systemic circulation. Once it is entering systemic circulation, it will gain access to all over your body, and at one point of time it can reach your heart, where it can cause endocarditis. So, undergoing that particular procedure will make the person predisposed to, endocarditis. अभी समझ में आया ये context में?
Yes, sir.
So all of these conditions which are leading to bacteremia or septicemia or pyemia will act as a predisposing factor for endocarditis. ये एक है. फिर underlying heart disease. If the patient has CAD, atherosclerosis, hypertension, heart disease, hypertension, या maybe even diabetes, तो वो conditions, especially अगर proper cardiovascular disease है, let us suppose they have a history of myocardial infarction, they have a history of heart attack, that is, or they have a history of any other atherosclerosis या कोई और cardiovascular disease है, that will put them at a risk of developing it even quicker. Because their heart is already not working properly, उसके ऊपर अगर infection आया तो ज़्यादा जल्दी develop होता problem. Then finally the last predisposing factor will be impaired host defenses. Impaired host defense. So if the person's immunity is not working properly, that will also act as a predisposing factor for the patient to ultimately down the line develop endocarditis. So these are the three main predisposing factors. Now the changes that occur in your endocarditis, first of all, what will happen is this circulating bacteria, it will enter into systemic circulation and will start circulating here and there. Ultimately, at one point of time, it will reach your valves, okay? And it will get lodged much more frequently in damaged valves. ये damaged valves कैसा आ रहे हैं? आपके जो heart के valves है, these are getting damaged if the person has a cardiovascular problem. So that will become the predisposing factor. समझ में आया? If a person has CAD or if they have any other cardiovascular problem which is causing their heart valves to get damaged, that damaged area or the damaged valve will be an attractive place for the bacteria to come and stick, because वहाँ पर damage हुआ बोले तो वहाँ पर बहुत सारे thrombocytes रहते, ठीक है, बहुत सारे platelets भी रहते, तो platelets रहते, and those platelets are very sticky. These bacteria can easily stick to those thrombocytes and start thriving there. They can start multiplying there. Okay? And अगर कोई और disease भी है, specifically अगर rheumatic heart disease है, congenital heart disease है, ठीक है, ये bacteria बहुत easily lodge होने लगते हैं, and they'll start causing damage to your valves. Right? Now lesions will start appearing on the valve itself. Now the more common type of valve that will get affected will be your left ventricle. Or left valves as such. These will get affected more commonly or more frequently. Mitral valve will get affected. After that, aortic valve. So more common is mitral, more common is left side of the heart, and then aortic valve. Sometimes you will see simultaneous involvement of both mitral valve and aortic valve. Okay. Now the vegetation, that is the bacterial growth that will occur, this can vary in size from a few millimeters, it can be a very small vegetation, or it can be a few centimeters, okay, several centimeters. You will see proper blobs of bacterial growth. एक nodule जैसा दिखता है आपके heart पे, on the valves of your heart, and it will also stop the normal functioning of your heart. ठीक है, जो आपके valves open and shut होते हैं वो properly नहीं होता, because of which you'll start having stenosis or insufficiency. Later on down the line, I'll explain what is stenosis and insufficiency. But for now, remember that because of these vegetations, they will start hindering in normal functioning of the valves. Now, ये vegetation जो है, these can generally vary in color. Gray color के रहते हैं, थोड़े greenish color के रहते हैं. They will be irregularly shaped, and sometimes you can find just a single lesion like this, or sometimes you will find multiple such lesions on the walls of your heart. Okay, so that is about infective endocarditis. Now this lesion itself कैसा दिखता है, I'll tell you tomorrow. Okay, there are layers to this lesion, 3 layers रहते हैं. We'll explain about that in the next class.